In tonight's show, we will be focusing on the Chinese, Egyptian and Arab relations as well, because this is part of the China-Arab States Forum. But before we start doing that, let's check out a couple of the stories making the news today. And we'll start off with President Abdel al-Sisi, who kicked off a 3-day visit to China on Tuesday upon an invitation from his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. President Xi at the Presidential Palace in the Chinese capital, Beijing, which will focus on boosting bilateral ties in various domains in addition to a number of regional and international issues of mutual concern. It is expected to discuss a number of regional and international issues of mutual concern, on top of which is the war on Gaza and means of gaining stability. They are scheduled to witness the signing of a number of deals and memoranda of understanding in various fields. During the President Sisi is slated to hold a meeting with the heads of a number of Chinese investments in Egypt, also in the inaugural session of the 10th Ministerial Meeting of the China-Arab States Forum, which will be held on May 30th, bringing together the Chinese President and a number of Arab leaders. President Sisi's visit to China coincides with the 10th anniversary of raising ties between Egypt and China to the comprehensive partnership level. And Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry is in Beijing also to prepare for the 10th Ministerial Meeting of the China-Arab State Forum, to be held next Thursday. The forum aims to deepen the consensus between China and Arab countries and is scheduled to adopt a number of outcome documents, which will further plan cooperation in the next stage and make a common voice of China and Arab states on the Palestinian cause. Launched in September 2004 in a communique in the Arab League in Cairo by the Chinese president back then, the forum is described as a platform for dialogue and cooperation between China and Arab countries. These were a couple of the stories making the news today. Now let's check out this report regarding the state visit by President Abdel al-Sisi to the Chinese capital upon the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping, and we'll be back.
Marking a decade of strategic partnership, President Abdel al-Sisi arrived in Beijing, China on Tuesday upon an invitation from the Chinese President Xi Jinping. The visit coinciding with the 10th anniversary of the elevation of bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership will include a summit between the two leaders and discussions with senior Chinese officials. The talks are expected to focus on strengthening cooperation in various fields and addressing a number of issues of mutual concern. President Mohammed said that the talk would focus on a multitude of regional and international issues of common interest, primarily the war in Gaza and ways to restore stability in the region in order to achieve the aspirations of its peoples for peace, security and development. Foremost amongst these is the ongoing war in Gaza, ways to restore stability, ensuring the well-being and development of its people. In addition to meetings with political leaders, President Sisi will also head of major Chinese companies across various sectors. Discussions will center on attracting further investment to Egypt, aligning with the country's emphasis on localizing industry and transferring collaboration with the private sector and foreign direct investment. The visit will culminate with President Sisi's attendance at the opening session of the 10th Ministerial Meeting of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum on May the 30th. Minister of Foreign Affairs Sameh Shoukry departed from Brussels to Beijing to attend the Ministerial Conference of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum, which will feature the participation of President Sisi, Bahrain King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, Tunisia's President Kais Saied, and the UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The meeting, which attended by Chinese President Xi Jinping and several Arab leaders, will delve into various aspects of Arab-Chinese relations or avenues for their enhancement. Egypt's growth marked by rapid and cultural ties. The ownership with the potential to place further. Both countries on Brazil, Russia, China. This expansion in ties reflects a diverse international partnership reduce reliance on traditional Western allies.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're joined here tonight in the studio by Dr. Mohammed Rahman, the Associate Professor at the Faculty of Navigation and Space Technology at Beni Suef University. Dr. Murad, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, and it's my honor to be with you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Murad, first off, before we start talking about the details and the prospects of cooperation and how to strengthen it between China and Egypt and China and Arab states in general, how would you assess the significance of such a visit, this three-day visit by President Abdel al-Sisi to the China-Arab States Forum?
Yes, as you know, and as you mentioned before that, China is the first and the major partner for Egypt in many fields, especially economic branches, all the economic branches, technological branches, the telecommunication, space also, and a lot of fields. So the visit for the President Sisi to China for this period, in this critical time, actually in our area, that means that we should concentrate on this ties and the relation, and we should strengthen this relation to serve our goals in SDGs and in our economy, to strengthen it, and also to make the a common vision between us and between China. It's a leading and strong have a leading and has a strong maybe economy. Yes,
the biggest economy in the world.
Yes, also in the political issue, in the economic issue. So we need to make a common vision between us and between China, to serve us in all these fields.
Yes. Dr. Murad, before we start talking about the cooperation, technological cooperation, now you've mentioned the vision and unifying the vision with China, with Egypt and other Arab states, and you've also alluded to the conflict within the region, obviously Gaza. Now, also China has been a strong advocate for a permanent ceasefire and the two-state solution with East Jerusalem as the capital. Now, do you feel that having this common political vision, would this enhance the prospects of economic cooperation and technological cooperation, or do you feel that with all the turbulences taking place within the region, countries would still be a bit wary or not as bold in making such agreements and deals?
Okay. Actually, you know that the economy equal safety also. So the safe regions have a good economies and a good investment from the foreign countries. But I think Egypt still can save its security issues in a good way, and I think all the world show that. Especially, it's the first time we have a crisis in our region. I think from about 10 years we have a crisis, yes, in our region, but Egypt still can develop, not stop at any point, and try to make a peace in the region and around us. So I think the security issue, which we are trying to concentrate on, is a very strong point actually in Egypt. And I think the President Sisi, every time he concentrate on this, we should save our country from any problem, to develop the economic issues in Egypt, and to not stop at specific point. And I think all the world know that the Egypt is now a focal point and the hub point for the technology, for the trades, and for the politics also. And it is a region for peace, not for the war, and calling every time to make the peace.
Yes.
And we hope this will done.
Yes,
I think
so.
I think it's also the common vision with China may be a good point to make a staple of stability for our region. As you know, China also is a very big has a very big issue in the Security Council, I think. Okay, and it is voted also for to stop the war in Gaza, for the two-state solution also. So I think we have a common vision, and I think this will make that, especially Chinese investment, to go or to develop in Egypt.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, China is a major political and economic superpower, obviously, and China is always synonymous with technology, industry, and Egypt has been really working on revolutionizing its technology and artificial intelligence and digitalization, digital transformation, all of these things. And China along with India, obviously. But how would you say we can actually make use of strengthening relations in, let's focus on artificial intelligence to start with, because it is the future, and we'll later on talk about space technology, but artificial intelligence, how can they help us, and how can we cooperate in a way that they would be able to fast track us in this transformation, digital transformation, and implementation and application of artificial intelligence in our daily lives?
Okay, you know that we have about 1,500 companies, Chinese companies here in Egypt, actually. About 20% of them works at telecommunication and something like the artificial intelligence and telecommunication systems. Okay, you know that the artificial intelligence is a very interesting branch and a very interesting science and technology today. It's not a luxury, but it's a mandatory now. Why? Because it's involved in everything. The smart vehicles, smart cars, and the all types of transportation systems now are smart. So how can it to be smart? By using the artificial intelligence technologies. You know, the Facebook, you know, the social networking, it's have now the artificial intelligence issues. Most of the applications also use the artificial intelligence. You know, when you make the image processing for some images, to give the data from it, or to analyze or to train the data, it's artificial intelligence. So the big data, the information systems, biomedical, all or most of the technological aspects actually working now with artificial intelligence. So Egypt also make a very good point in this. you know, the computer science faculties, now it's transformed to be an artificial intelligence university or artificial intelligence faculty now. So the artificial intelligence objects and subjects, already involved in our learning system in most of faculties, in the engineering faculty, faculty of navigation science, space technology, the faculty of, by sure, the computer science.
Yes.
So the students now are have the expertise, so they can work in this field.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, what is the nature of the cooperation, and how can they benefit us? I mean, is it financial assistance? Are we talking about educating our scientists? Would they come in and would they help us with the technological and programming aspect of the AI applications and applying them within our industries and our sectors? I mean, what is the nature? Is it vocational training? Is it financial? Is it the technological and the know-how?
Yes, it's multidiscipline of all of that, and actually Egypt has all of this. We have the manpower who can train and who can educate these issues like artificial intelligence, students and teachers also. So we have a cooperation with the Chinese universities and Chinese institutions for artificial intelligence. This is one side, and the other side in the companies itself and the technology itself about the machines and some others for making some cooperation in the hardware, not only the software. So we have this another initiative. From another side also, the economic way, we need maybe some, we can't say it's a fund, but maybe cooperation, economic cooperation also to develop artificial intelligence. You know, not only not only the financial issues or not only the manpower. We should have the two, both of them to develop any branch of technology, especially the artificial intelligence branch. And I think Egypt has all the facilities, the manpower and the technological issues, and also the financial issues in the form of or in the form of funding from side, and the other side from sponsoring from other institutions worldwide. Also, the Egyptian students actually in many institutions, in many universities, show that they are leaders for artificial intelligence actually in a lot of competitions. So we have the both things.
Well, what about space technology? I mean, does that fall under artificial intelligence as well? I mean, I know it's a different science, or it's maybe, I mean, if we're talking about developing things on the ground and then talking about space technology, it is something that it is inevitable that we should be on that bandwagon. And do you feel that is it a long way to go to develop our space technology? How far are we, or how far behind are we in space technology?
Okay, I can say from 2018, when Egypt established the Egyptian Space Agency, okay, and at the same time the Faculty of Navigation Science and Space Technology, to make the academic and the technological the both sides of space industry. Actually, space now is industry, not only the just science or something like that. Yeah. So in this industry, we already developed with China, for example, from about 3 or 4 months, EgyptSat-2. EgyptSat-2 is a satellite for remote sensing.
Yes.
Yes, it can capture photos and images all over the world, and then we can make the analyze for these images using the artificial intelligence to get the data and the information from this data. This is one application. We have Egypt also has many different types of satellites. The remote sensing satellites, TV satellites, as we are here using the NightSat for example.
Yes.
Telecommunication satellite, we can support the internet using satellite now by TIBA satellite from about 1.5 years ago, and many other CubeSats or small satellites for a lot of applications So I think Egypt is the first and the leading Arab country in space technologies, space fields. Yes, actually, and I think we are not very far, but I think we should develop ourselves more and more. Also, from another hand, the space agency, for example, not only make a cooperation with China, but also with a lot of countries, USA, Germany, for sure France, and also Russia. So this is also related to the good political issues here in Egypt. Yes, we have a multi-discipline or cooperation with a lot of parties all over the world.
So it's mainly launching satellites and programming and manufacturing satellites. Are we going to be speaking about exploring space anytime soon? Space exploration?
Okay, for the first time here in Egypt, I think we are concentrating on how to use the satellite and the space technology to serve our Earth. Yes, by exploring the treasures here, the petrol, the deep waters and so on, something like that. Also for the security issues, for sure, for the internet and telecommunications, it's the major goal here in Egypt before exploring the because the exploration is also maybe it's very important, but not in this
at a later stage.
In a later stage. Actually, also I can say that in a cooperation with China. We have in the Egyptian Space Agency and the Space City here in Egypt, yes, we have the AIT Center. AIT Center is the Assembly, Integration and Testing Center. It is the biggest center for design, integration, test and testing the satellites here in Egypt. It's the biggest one in the Middle East and North Africa, not in the Africa and the Middle East. This is with the cooperation with China. China, he established with us this. And EgyptSat-2, which I said before, it is the first production from this AIT center here in Egypt. So we now not only using, but also we are developer for the satellites, for the satellite manufacturing system, and it's very good. When you compare Egypt with other maybe countries, some countries have a lot of satellites, but actually the satellites is just put it, no
they
contribution.
Just finance it,
yes, there is no contribution, there is no knowledge. But when you see about Egyptian development in the satellite system from 2008, from 1998, I think, when we launched the NileSat 101 till now, each year or every year we contribute for more than, I think we now about 70% of the satellite we can do it here in Egypt by designing about 100% by full design, and also now by using this cooperation for AIT Center we make the full types of integration of the satellite parts, because the satellite have about 7 or 8 subsystems we can contribute it or we can integrate it and testing it here in Egypt. So we have developed in a technical way and in a knowledge, not only in the number of satellites or the number of services we use it from the satellites.
So if we have the experiences in design and also manufacturing, so the biggest obstacles would be what? Financing?
Yes, the finance issue is still have the obstacle actually. Also the launching issues take a lot of money, and we can't do the launch now in Egypt because of some technical problems, but I think it is in the next vision, inshallah, to make this.
We could launch it from places such as Latin America or in Europe as well?
In China, in Russia, in Kazakhstan, from Japan, from USA also. There are now, you know, SpaceX, for example, now make launching the private sector. Also, the private sector now is involved in the space industry because it's a very rich and very promising technology.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just Egypt and China. China is hosting a China-Arab State Forum. It's a meeting between many different Arab leaders along with the Chinese president. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
China China will host President Abdel al-Sisi and several other Arab leaders this week to issue a common voice between China and Arab nations on the Palestinian issue. President Abdel al-Sisi, Bahrain's King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, Tunisia's President Kais Saied and the UAE's President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed will attend the 10th Ministerial Conference of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum opening ceremony on Thursday. Chinese President Xi Jinping is set to attend the forum and deliver a keynote address. The forum aims to deepen consensus between China and Arab countries and is scheduled to adopt a number of outcome documents which will further build consensus between China and Arab states, plan for cooperation in the next stage and make a common voice of China and Arab states on the Palestinian issue. Chinese President Xi will deliver a keynote speech which fully reflects the common wish of China and Arab states to unite and cooperate and continuously promote China-Arab ties to new levels. Meanwhile, Chinese President will individually meet with the four heads of state to discuss bilateral relations as well as regional and international issues of mutual concern. China, which supports the Palestinian cause and the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, has been calling since October 7th for a ceasefire. Beijing has also expressed opposition to Israel's invasion of Rafah city in southern Gaza. During a visit to the Middle East in January, the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs, Wang Yi, met with President al-Sisi in Cairo, where he expressed the rejection of the forced displacement of Palestinians from their lands. He also emphasized the need for a just resolution to the Palestinian issue and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state based on the two-state solution.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our discussion with Dr. Murad. Sir, now, you spoke about cooperation and prospects of cooperation, artificial intelligence and space technology as well, but there's a lot of cooperation between Egypt and China in terms of green energy, green economy, and they really worked on developing green hydrogen plants, solar plants over the past few years, and it's starting to become a cornerstone for the energy hub vision that Egypt wants to achieve and fulfill. Now, how far, or how, I mean, if we already started these agreements and these projects with China, how can we build on them? How can, I mean, are we talking about the development of the already existing projects, or are we talking about expanding or increasing the number of plants and projects, or developing the technology of it, or having our own know-how and expertise in developing such plants and such projects without even the help of China and other countries?
Okay, firstly, Egypt has a very good location all over the world, and this is known from decades and will still, inshallah, forever. So the first strength point or strong point we can concentrate on. So we can be the power hub for not only North Africa, but the Middle East, North Africa, and North Europe. Yes, you can. You will be the power hub. Mm-hmm. So not only the electrical power, but also we have a lot of powers, such you mean the green energy. Green energy, sorry, including the green hydrogen, the wind energy, the solar energy, and alhamdulillah that Egypt has a lot of benefits and a lot of resources actually for the sun, for the wind, for the green, also the green hydrogen, for example. Egypt started to be the hub for this as a power plant, especially in the Suez Canal zone. Yes. China, for example, make the Chinese industrial zone in the Suez Canal. Yes. The main target for this is to make to make a power plant, also charging, discharging, and some other, but for to make a power hub or power plant for the power and electricity, green electricity and clean electricity also. Also, Egypt can export these electrical parts especially in the green hydrogen. Green hydrogen enable you to transfer the energy from one site to another by using a lot of ways, tubes, maybe ships and others, which it make it very, very, very useful thing. So I think no states can replace Egypt in this, because its location and also not only the locations but also the resources here in Egypt, the human resource and also the manpower and the economic resource also. Egypt has economic resources, a lot of resources. So I think we can make our knowledge, as I say, in the space, for example. Also here in the power plants, Egypt has a lot of, you know, in Aswan we have the biggest solar cell, Penang, in Aswan. It's already operated by Egyptian peoples, fully operated by Egyptian. Also we have in Za'farana wind turbines from decades, also in Al Kuraimat and other power plants. So we in Samsung also we have sorry, Siemens, we have cooperation with them in the some electrical power. So we have the knowledge, so we can do, operate, design and make everything in our without any cooperation. But the cooperation actually give you a lot of experience, give you more strength points in a lot of things, economic things and also technical, because the technology is not stopped today. It's every second the technology is developed. So we should have initiatives with others to be you know, to be in time, not to be late. Yes.
Dr. Murad, do you feel that, I mean, speaking of cooperation, is it better for Egypt to have one-on-one agreements with China in these fields and in the green energy field in specific, or is it better to include other Arab countries and Arab states within the agreements? Can they help in providing something that we are not, that we are unable to provide, and vice versa as well? Is it better to have direct cooperation between Egypt and China, or to also include some of the Arab countries involved?
I think in some types of cooperation, it's preferred to make the point-to-point. But for most, or for the common, you prefer to make a network, because you may be the source of the power. You also need to think of the power who will get this a lot of power. You will initiate. So if you have a network of entities and a network of cooperation, this will facilitate a lot of things and make a network of cooperation. When you have a missing point in some issues, other country can compensate it. Okay? So network cooperation, I think, is very good. And and the summit of the President Sisi now in China is the summit for Arab countries with China, not for only Egypt. And I think it will be a pushing point in this. Also, not only in the technological issues, but also in the political issues, in the economical issues, to unify the vision, as we said before. When you unify the vision, you can go to your goals, I think, in a very hairy step, in the very strong steps. Yes.
Well, China already had its Belt and Road initiative, and also, I mean, you've mentioned the Chinese industrial zone within the Suez Canal, and obviously all these projects now. It's very much, I mean, we're talking about infrastructure work. Now, the training, the education, the financing, I mean, you can still get them all done during times of turbulences and conflicts, but do you feel that with what's going on politically in the region now, does it hinder or slow down any prospects or chances of speeding up the infrastructure work, be it these industrial zones, the economic zones, the actual plants that would be located in, I mean, areas close to where the action is happening?
Okay, actually, you know that any disturbance, any political disturbance or any something like that in our region, for sure will affect the development of our infrastructure projects. But to some extent, or to how extent? So I think Egypt didn't stop any infrastructure project. We have the problem of the crisis of Gaza from about 7 months till now, I think. So, but there is no stopping for our infrastructure projects. Maybe it's slowed down in here and there, but there is no stopping, and this is the main point. We will complete our infrastructure projects, and I think it's a mandatory complete it in something like the new city and the other infrastructure, the trains, the transportation, yes, we should make that, we should complete, never give up.
Dr. Murad, one final question, because we're running out of time now. Away from artificial intelligence and space technology and green energy now, you also spoke about how this sort of cooperation with China can actually enhance our e-commerce, our internet services, I mean, our day-to-day, our daily life activities. How can we build and make sure that we strengthen our cooperation with China in a way that would directly impact our daily lives instantly?
Okay, as you know that China actually now, it's one of the leading countries all over the world, especially in the telecommunication systems. You know, the 3G, 4G and 5G communication systems all over the world now initiated and developed by Chinese countries, by Chinese companies. From another hand, the transportation, like the train, the electrical train, or a lot of electrical cars, electrical buses. So there is a good contribution for Chinese companies also in this issue. I think that the cooperation between Egypt and between Chinese companies in technological companies especially will make two majors. The first major is that will for sure enhance our life, and to transfer the technology transfer. The technology transfer and the localization of the knowledge and of the informations, it's maybe the most important thing, most important than the enhancing our life, but also to transfer the knowledge, transfer the localization or localizing of the technology. This I think the major aim, because if we completely have the knowledge, we can develop ourselves without need for anyone.
And is that where the government data and cloud center comes in handy?
Yes, hardware and software development, hardware development about the servers and something like that, and the software, the iClouds and the all the technological you said.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, definitely a lot of prospects for this state visit by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Beijing upon the invitation of the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, obviously, he did meet with many heads of Chinese companies, and many agreements and deals and memoranda of understanding will be signed. A lot of opportunities to really work on between Egypt and China, and also the Arab states. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. Before we go, I'd like to thank Dr. Mohammed Murad Abdel Rahman, the Associate Professor at the Faculty of Navigation and Space Technology at Beni Suef University. Dr. Murad, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Beni Suef. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure.